Ooh, an inflammatory and hyperbolic video title. What could this really be about? While I'm going to be approaching this topic through the lens of running, this does apply to any and all sport at all. So if you're not a runner, this does still apply to you. For most normal people who are recreationally taking part in sport, you're probably not following a training program that is tailored specifically to your needs, and you're probably not working one-to-one with a coach. And this is normal and expected. Most of us maybe don't have the ability, the means to hire a coach to take care of all our training for us. This means for most people who are casually, recreationally involved in sport, you're probably following some kind of training program that you've got off someone's website, or you're following something you found in a YouTube video, etc., etc., which is fine. Like, it's good that these resources are out there to accommodate more people and allow more people access to some information about how to train effectively. But obviously what we're lacking with programs that have been pulled off someone's website, something you're following from a YouTube video, is that it's not tailored specifically to you and your needs. It's not going to take into account your exercise history, your injury history, and it can't, right? It's a sort of cut and paste program off the internet, so it can't accommodate for those things. But I often see that when people are grabbing these things off the internet, that the programs don't come with like warnings or caveats or suggestions as to what to do, or even with a lot of the running programs, this is really frustrating, they often don't even really come with like a suggested level of training or mileage, or a suggested level of previous racing experience that you should have achieved prior to using the program. So I had a friend a little while ago got in touch with me because she was training for a mountain marathon, and she'd pulled a program off the internet, as most people do, and she'd messaged me because she knows my expertise area and was like, my Achilles are really, really hurting, and I'm not really sure what to do about it. So I took a look at the program, and it was a program that was really geared towards someone trying to push for a really quick time over a mountain marathon. Like, there was loads of speed work, which I also didn't really agree with the volume of speed work that was in the program at all. I'm not a running coach, I'm a strength coach, so for me to be worried about it indicates something is maybe off there in the first place. But this program just didn't come with like a warning or a suggestion as to how much mileage or whatever you should have been running prior to taking on the program. So my friend had gone into this program with like not really much running in the weeks prior to starting it. So it was just immediately obvious why the Achilles issues were there. This is one of the first things to try and consider if you're selecting a program off the internet, or even when you're picking a coach, as is it relevant to your level of experience? There's no point in taking on a really like hard-ass program that's got you doing loads of crazy shit when your body's just not going to be able to cope with it, and you're not going to be able to follow through on the completion of that program. And it's also like a good warning sign to look out for with coaches if they are not taking into account your previous experience sufficiently, and they're not making accommodations to your program to account for your health issues or whatever, then you're welcome to stop working with them. However, it is important to understand the distinction between a program that isn't accommodating you sufficiently and a program that is working you hard enough to achieve the goal that you're aiming for. If you're experiencing consistent pain outside of your training sessions, then the program needs to change, and you shouldn't feel like you have to grind it out just so you can say you've stuck to the program, because the chances are if you keep doing that, you will be forced to not follow the program. The same goes for if you're experiencing a level of fatigue that is affecting your day-to-day life or making it much harder to complete your sessions, and all your sessions feel way harder than they should, then that's also a clear indication that the program needs to ease off the gas massively. I'm working with a client at the minute who I'm working with essentially remotely. They don't want one-to-one coaching, so I'm just writing their program and I'm delivering the next stage to the program to them every 4 weeks. Now, we've encountered an issue where they are having problems with their lower back, kind of related to existing health problems. So we just had a quick exchange so I could establish whether this issue was something I would be able to rectify in a way that would enable us to keep utilizing the heavy barbell work, or whether this is a situation where I just needed to prescribe different exercises, because there are just some things that, like with my level of expertise, I'm just not going to be able to do in a remote capacity. And this is a client who I trust. They have a very extensive exercise history and they know their body very well. So really, if they're saying something is hurting, then it's definitely hurting, and that's not something that should be brushed over, and it's not something that I should try and, as a coach, I should try and like plow past. It's something that just needs adjusting to ensure that the program is as effective as it can be for that person. It's a bit frustrating when stuff like this happens, because the program won't be as effective as it could be without the heavy barbell work. But if we take the heavy barbell work out and accommodate the problems that this client's having, then the program will be more effective than if we just stubbornly pushed through. And it's something I apply to my own training. I have learned the hard way a few times that you have to accommodate how your body's feeling. It's difficult to admit you need to ease off, to admit that your training plan is too hard for you. And it's something I'm doing at the minute. I had a kind of ideal build towards this FKT attempt I'm doing with a friend. It's an ultra distance FKT attempt. So I've been building my mileage back up with the intention of getting to 100 kilometers a week and holding it there for 3 weeks. I've had to readjust the build so that I've been building a bit slower, and I think at the minute I've reached a point where I am just going to have to reduce the amount of mileage I'm doing in the peak phase as well. So I'm still planning to get up to 100k, but I think I'm going to hold it there for 2 weeks and then do a 3-week taper. Instead of a 2-week taper, I think that'll be better for me. my legs are very fatigued and I am very tired. Not like so aggressively that it's affecting my day-to-day life, but enough that I need to make some changes. And this has come from having overtrained before and having reached the start line of a race completely overcooked. So I know when I start feeling certain things that it's better to ease off before it develops any further. So I've had a fairly busy race schedule. Most of what I've done is just take out some of the races that I was going to do. I was going to race twice this week and I haven't done either of them because I knew my legs were just feeling too heavy, and if I tried to push a race effort I would probably end up with an overuse injury, and it's more important just to try and make sure I'm logging the mileage at the minute. That seems to be what's benefiting me the most at the moment, is just building my aerobic base up. I'm not worrying too much about doing like workouts or speed work at the moment, just because personally I know that from past experience just steadily building mileage is what's getting me faster overall at my current stage of my training. And really the focus should always be on consistency. What can you consistently maintain? So if you are following a training program and you're finding that workouts are starting to feel really, really hard, you're not progressing in the way that you should be, and you're just too tired, and it's gonna basically end up with you skipping workouts because you can't find the motivation to do them, then that indicates you just need to ease off. Find a balance, find a point where you can consistently maintain the training volume and still progress. So you strip it back until you reach that point. I do it with my strength work as well. The other week I had a bit of a twinge in my quad, so I did do like my squat session on the Wednesday, but I did high box squats instead of my normal like parallel and below squats, because that way I could still get the strength stimulus without hurting my quad. So I just reduced the range of motion of the movement to a point where I could carry it out safely and comfortably, in the sense that my quad wasn't hurting when I squatted. I have made a mistake. Anyway, I think that's all I've really got to say on the subject today. Don't feel like you have to follow your training plan to the absolute letter if it's not working. If it's not working for you or something is wrong, it's absolutely fine to take a step back, to make changes. All these things are necessary for long-term progression. Grinding it out is generally not the way to make improvements, certainly not in a healthy and sustainable way. Take care of yourselves and uphold consistency over just pure volume or high intensity. Find that balance and that median that enables the consistency week in, week out, and you'll do just fine. And if your training plan needs to be adjusted, just adjust it. Alright, thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.